Good morning. We're Team Badger. We're here today to introduce you to a $500 million solution that will not only distinguish PNC for the next 5 to 10 years to come, but also cement PNC's market leadership for the next decades, positioning it as the bank of choice for small businesses. But first, I do want you guys to meet someone from all the way from Wisconsin. Meet Jack. Jack likes 3 things: sun, summer, and maybe single barrel liquor. And so he did decide to take his last passion to become his bread and butter. And Jack, my friend, is a huge advocate of the American dream. He believes that if you are willing to put in the work, you'll become a much better person down the road. And so he did just that. 2 jobs in the day, community college by night. But life and business is not that simple, is it? So Jack realized that clients were paying him way later than they should, but suppliers wanted his money yesterday. And by the time he wanted to apply for his line of credit, it was too late. The bank said no. And what's the most important thing about this is Jack is not the only owners who feel this way. In fact, we talked to a lot of other small business owners and realized that even though they're from this different industry, they share the same pain points. Seasonality issues, don't know who to ask, where to go, do not have the trust. And here are some of the daily problems they might face. And with one wrong mistake, their whole business is down. And according to our analysis, we can categorize this into 3 major buckets: day-to-day operations, financial literacy, trust, transparency, and privacy. And this also opened up an opportunity for PNC because 95% of owners say that they operate on a partial view of their cash flow. And QuickBooks said half of them don't have the financial management knowledge they need. And most importantly, 97% of banks say that trust is critical, but owners are not as confident in their bank and on delivering those key attributes of trust. Now, let's take a step back because this is not just about Jack, right? Or a few small businesses we talked to. This is about the backbone of the US economy. 98% of small businesses in America have less than 100 employees. That's 2.5 billion, and they're projected to grow to 4.8 billion. That's a compound annual growth rate of 8.5%. And what's the current solution, you may ask? Well, we did talk to a PNC competitor to find out how they're helping small businesses. And they said, if you're going to a bank to ask for advice, then you're in big trouble because you're not a financial advisor. And I quote, "Go get your cash flow sorted out and then come back." PNC is different. They believe in building that long-term relationship with clients. They believe in trust. They believe in the American dream, in people like Jack. And with these exact reasons, we believe that PNC is the bank for small businesses. They're there to redefine the market. And we're here to demonstrate just how PNC is going to do that.
Thank you, Mai. And I think we've gotten a lot of visibility into the problem, right, at this point. And we know that this is a very painful problem being suffered by a lot of people now and even more people in the future. And the only thing standing in the way of small businesses to achieving everything they want to achieve and having PNC be the vehicle for that, right, is the solution. So the how, right? Presenting PNC Compass, a small business's one-stop solution for anything they might need now or in the future for managing the cash flow. Now, with one simple click of the PNC Compass integration, all they have to do is ask, do I want to go north, south, east, or west? Now, this sounds simple, but with one click, one decision, they're able to see, do I want to identify my problems? Do I want to question? Do I want to answer? Or do I want to seek help? Now, let's try to understand this. What does this really mean, right? It's not just a cool framework for a very cute solution. It's actually a lot more complicated than that, and a lot more simple at the same time. Let's talk about our friend Jack, right? Our friend from Wisconsin. So now suppose he's doing his daily Jack things, like drinking his single barrel liquor and doing his work, right? Suppose he gets a notification from PNC Compass, like, hey, your cash runway is at 18 days. Now this is a notification he would not have gotten before. And that would have been critical. He would have realized way too late that this was an issue that he should have paid attention to, and he would have had to even maybe dip into his personal savings, if not worse. But now with PNC Compass, all he has to do is open the app and see in natural language exactly what he needs to do to get out of the trouble, how confident that insight is, disclose, and we also disclose till when the insight is relevant. And lastly, we also have the ability to dive deep into the data if he so chooses. So let's say he wants to dive into the data. So he can go to the Explore module, which is a dashboard based on real-time data, which is relevant for that specific insight. And it has visible inputs, which helps with generating trust. And it also reduces like a lot of loan defaults from PNC side. And it leads to interpretable outputs, which helps with forecast accuracy for at-risk clients for PNC's side. And there are a lot of human control points. So now Jack is suddenly feeling a lot more knowledgeable, a lot more financially literate than he used to feel before. And then if he still has questions, all he has to do is go to Navigate, our personalized AI coach, where he can ask in natural language. You don't need to be an accountant to run a business. I believe that. And with this solution, we're democratizing access to previously arcane knowledge with conversation explainability, audit trails, which will help with digital adoption and retention and lifetime value. And lastly, human-in-the-loop escalation. One thing we want to focus is anytime someone is unsure what to do, they can verify with banker, and they can basically have it sent to the bank, a PNC banker for verification. Now let's see what that looks like. If things really do go south, all you have to do is hit SOS, and PNC is there to the rescue. We have what we call human, or much rather banker in the loop AI, right? And it has a unique benefit of retaining at-risk clients. Now bankers are not spending their very precious time chasing down at-risk clients who might have gotten things handled on their end. Now they know exactly precisely who to target, when to target, and how to help them best. And every insight is accompanied with a confidence level, and the model governance ensures that for both PNC's banker side, for all stakeholders, from PNC to the end user, people are feeling comforted, trusted, trustworthy, and they just feel good about the situation. It's a good customer experience. Now, I'd love for Ramadan to come and talk about our innovation and explainable AI.
All right, so we've heard about this word, trust and explainable AI. Here's how we're tackling it with PNC Compass. We established what we call a top-down level approach and a bottom-up approach. On the top-down level approach, we have things we call the ethics board. That is responsible for ensuring that everything within PNC Compass is held accountable. Also, in terms of fairness, we're going to conduct quarterly audits to ensure that we keep the best interest of our small businesses at hand, because that's who they trust us. On the bottom-top approach, which you would see here, every question that comes, we're saying, why is that recommendation important? We need to answer that before small businesses gets to that information, right? We're also having what we call a fallback logic. Just in case our model has a low threshold accuracy, we have something to fall back, and we always have answers for our small businesses. You may ask, where does this turn into place? Where does this come in? Well, you have this amazing AI solution. You can't just throw this at small businesses and expect them to trust it. This is AI in banking. Trust is everything. So guess what? We're not just boiling a frog by throwing it into water. We're starting slow, building trust, and then we're scaling it up as we provide more value. We're testing, we're developing, and we're scaling. How? Take a journey with me. Let me show you. Phase one is all about integrating PNC cash flow insight customers to PNC Compass. Why? They're already comfortable banking with us. They trust us, so there's trust and there's low friction. After that, we're partnering with internal teams, cybersecurity people, customer experience, risk team to ensure that we're covering our oversight basis, right? We also want to understand customer adoption, how that works. All this together ensures that we have a continuous feedback loop, right? Something leans on the other in order to position PNC Compass as the perfect product market fit. Phase two, we're rolling PNC Bank. We need volume, but here's the catch. we need the right volume. That's why we're targeting 4 states that have a high density of small, medium-sized businesses. You think in Texas, California, Florida, even here in Pennsylvania, where Pittsburgh, where PNC started, right? But we also need to build credibility, and we're doing so through thoughtful leadership. So we're hosting webinars, case studies, getting knowledge to the public so that way they understand what PNC Compass is about. Next, we're going big. We're scaling up to larger businesses around the nation, right? But this is where it becomes unique. We now integrate PNC Compass with the existing PNC API treasury lending APIs. What does that mean? PNC Compass goes from just giving you insights now to now giving you predictive credit line offers and enable to connect you to bankers, right? So that's a unique value proposition we're giving. Additionally, we need to make money somehow while also keeping the small businesses at heart. So in order to have a scalable revenue, we're going to offer a premium subscription to businesses who want to have a predictive analysis focused. And that's how we're going to position PNC Compass to be a good and perfect product market fit. The numbers, I'm going to hand it over to Diksha to explain that to you.
I got you. Thank you. All right, let's talk money, yeah? Let's do this. I'm happy to say, way happy to say, yeah, I like this now, I like this reaction. Okay, cool. I'm happy to say we have a 3-year impact of $500 million. I've been told not to say billion with a B, but I'm thinking it in my head. I hope you guys don't mind. So I'm sure like anyone can throw a number in the air, right? 2 million to 5 trillion. What does it mean? Let's add some context. We got this number by doing very extensive analysis. I'm very happy to talk numbers. Please do ask me about the numbers. And we based it on 3 major dimensions: the financial benefit, the operational benefit, and lastly, and very importantly, the strategic benefits for PNC. The financial benefits are actually based on the fact that because we are helping businesses stay relevant and thrive for longer periods of time, they're lasting for longer. The lifetime value of the average PNC customer with PNC Compass is just going to increase. Their lifetime value is going to increase, their retention is going to increase. As a result, the amount of money they're also going to make, because as they graduate from small to medium to even hopefully large businesses, they're going to grow with the company. PNC is going to grow with the business. And as a result, they're less likely to also default on loans. So as a result, a lot of the charge-offs that you see in PNC's financial statements are just going to not go away, but reduce quite significantly. It's also very important to note, we will be cross-selling all the other products in the PNC's product suite, like the treasury and treasury solutions, as they become relevant, as the business grows. And let's not forget the amount of time saved by individual relationship managers or bankers, because now they're no longer chasing down clients. They know exactly who to go to, for what purpose, and how best to help them. So that is the quantitative benefits. But like you mentioned, PNC CEO believes AI is the next leg. PNC's corporate responsibility stakeholder relationship document, which I'm happy to quote, I like it, also mentions that they want to prioritize explainable and responsible AI. They want to prioritize like customer trust, privacy, safety. We are very happy to say that we are checking all those boxes and more. Now, okay, I hope you'll indulge me for a second. Now, before we leave here, and I'm very happy to answer questions, is it okay if I ask you guys a question first? Yeah? Okay. My question is, you know that number I just threw up, $500 million? I like that number. It's a cool number, but is profitability, is that one number the only important metric? From the way you're shaking your heads, from everything we have learned this far, and from what I know about PNC, from my 100+ hours of research, I would say no. I would say PNC as an institution believes that trust is their compass. That trust is the only currency that will make a small business believe and go with them for the long run. I know that when I bank with PNC as a small business owner, PNC wants me in turn to be a voice on their behalf. I know when Jack, who is now going to be a young business owner at the beginning, and he's looking for help, I know that the cost of not getting the solution right for him is very high. I know that if I do get the solution right, and Jack is now older Jack with lots more gray hair, and he's now looking at small business owners, right? When the new business owner tells him, "Hey man, how are you figuring all this stuff out?" All Jack has to do is say, "Don't worry, man. Trust PNC, because with PNC Compass, it's your vision, your direction, guided by PNC."
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. You've been an amazing audience. We look forward to any comments, questions, suggestions you may have.
4 minutes, 30 seconds for questions.
Thank you.
Great.
That was amazing. I really enjoyed the proactive approach that you've taken with your solution, where you're pushing insights to small businesses. Have you given any thought into industry-specific insights?
That's a very good question, and I love that you asked this because that's actually where we started. We know that PNC's strength and differentiator is in its vertical specific solutions, like for healthcare such. And that is what I feel like there's a difference in how we communicate value for customers versus internally what's happening. For customer experience, customers don't need to know that this has the later HIPAA regulations built in. I feel like things should just work for them, and they should not care what happens below the hood. As a computer scientist, abstraction is the name of the game. So when we say every single part of the solution, north, south, east, west, is actually customized to that business's unique use case. And that very much includes the industry. Let me just go back a bit. So for example, this, like even a specific, make sure you collect payment from client Diksha, that can be very specific to that industry. And I don't believe the customer should be having to even care about the complexity. They should feel like it's just a weight off their shoulders. But it is definitely being considered for sure.
Great presentation, and thank you for bringing the personas over here with us today.
We hope you like Jack.
Yeah.
Jack.
Great presentation. Question, if you can flip to your growth strategy slide. You plan to grow initially within the PNC's existing customers, right? Small business owners. How do you plan to bridge the gap between the known biases because they're already PNC customers when you reach to the broader market, right? Try to grab other non-PNC
I love
customers.
this question. Is it okay if I take this one? You can add to it. It's okay. I feel like we should, in like tech, we say in the startup space, you should always eat the frog first. I think you should always target the toughest challenge you have in customers, and those are the people who already have a perception of PNC as an institution. If we can grab them, then everything else is easier from there. So we actually have a lot of frameworks in place for that. So we will be doing an opt-in beta, so for the launch of the PNC Compass, and we'll be targeting people we can get the most insights from, who are relevant for the long-term growth of the company. That's why the persona is so important, because we don't want just a small business. We want a small business who are less than $5 million in growth, and such as we have certain specifications. Once that is done, and then we can later grow beyond them to like medium-sized enterprises, but we do have that, we want to capture them, and we want to make sure that the bias is considered by like using, by the AI ethics board, so top down, and bottom up by using like Google and IBM's fairness databases for bias testing. I hope that answers your question.
Thanks for the high energy conversation and fantastic trustworthy AI framework. That was really excellent. Don't know, really great. Have you thought at all about the banker experience in this, right? So I love the proactive piece as well, but there's definitely dependency on the banker side and some of the platforms that they may be faced with. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so in one of the slides, we had mentioned how instead of giving everybody a 46-page document for them to read, we're not doing that. We're giving them a 2-minute video that sums up the most important aspect of PNC Compass, which we do that because it provides quick and output value. That's important because we're getting straight to the point. So the bankers, on the other hand, will get trained internally because those are the teams that we're teaming up with, right? So we're teaming up with the customer experience department, the internal bankers, the cybersecurity. So they're also getting that 2 minutes quick lecture video on what PNC Compass is. So should they get finally directed, like Diksha said, if they need SOS, they get directed from the customer to PNC Bank. They're already up to speed, right? So now they can provide more value to those businesses, and they can handle the complex stuff because they already understand what PNC Compass is about.
And just to add on that, we believe in our bankers and we want to do good things for them because we know PNC has invested billions of dollars in hybrid solutions. So we want to make sure that bankers also take that into consideration, and we will be making sure that productivity gains are there for bankers. Thank you for your time. You've been a great audience. Let's talk more.